Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Terraria Calamity. We're starting today after what some might say a boring episode, with some spicy action, that's for sure. We're gonna get into some spicy stuff today. Now, of course, our main goal at the start is to obtain some aerial mobility accessories. Our ground and horizontal mobility is quite sufficient, but our vertical mobility is null. And as we are looking through the accessory crafting recipes, we realize that basically all of them require feathers. So what we do next is we create a sky elevator up to space so that we can kill harpies for their feathers and craft these accessories. Now, when we were done with our sky elevator, we were met with a interesting surprise. Rather than getting floating sky cloud islands like you usually would in vanilla Terraria, we were met with giant orbs. And as we were observing the giant orbs, and we jumped over to the left giant orb, we found an enchanted sword in a stone. After obtaining our enchanted sword, we hop back down to chop some trees and get some wooden platforms to explore further along the skyline. Now, not too far along, we end up finding this humongous orb with what seemed to be a laboratory with a power core in the middle. And of course, we did as any curious Terraria player would do, and absolutely destroy everything in that laboratory, including the turrets that wanted to kill me. Now, after we dug our way out of the laboratory, we managed to find ourselves our first harpies, as well as a stone orb that contained gems, as well as life crystals. After being sent home by a harpy, we checked out the recipe for the sandstorm in a bottle, and then went over to the desert to collect the resources. After we had collected the resources, it had turned nighttime, and we realized that we had enough lenses to create a suspicious-looking eye. We decided to create a suspicious-looking eye, and create an arena for the Eye of Cthulhu. We felt ballsy with our enchanted sword and our wolfram armor, so we tried the Eye of Cthulhu out. But boy, were we not prepared. Now, when he spawned in, I could already tell that his AI was much more aggressive and fast-paced than vanilla. And we struggled even with the first phase, as with our lack of aerial mobility, we struggled to escape his charges. But then, once he hit his second phase, he still had many servants left. We struggled to weave around the servants as his second phase constantly lunged at us and kept us on our toes, until he finally eviscerated us with his expert charges. He's cranked as hell. Now, after our crippling defeat, we decided to expand the arena a little bit more, as well as finally craft that sandstorm in a bottle. We then decided that it would be a good idea to try out King Slime, as he is a much easier boss, and something to test out our accessory on. Now, with extra thick King Slime spawned in, we start to beat his ass until he gets down to half health and he spawns a crystal which shoots projectiles. Of course, with a crystal that shoots projectiles at us, following us everywhere as this extra thick King Slime chases after us, we naturally lose on our first try. So we end up trying again, but this time we stand still and his extra thick ass teleports inside of us, dealing 80% of our health. So we very carefully chip him down more and more, closer and closer to death, until we find ourselves off the arena, running to the right towards our house. And as we have to try and climb over our house, we get hit by the crystal and killed. But then a peculiar thing happened, where we spawned back in and King Slime still hadn't gone out of render. So he teleported back to me and started trying to kill me again. But this time, we ran back towards the arena and actually managed to kill him. Now, of course, we go back and get his treasure bag and cry a little as we open it up and find that there is nothing useful that he drops. Now, we go back to the arena and summon in the Eye of Cthulhu because we have a bigger arena and we have Sandstorm in a bottle now. Surely we can kill So we decide that we really need some more life to survive the hits of the Eye of Cthulhu. So we craft some wooden platforms, and we go up into space and explore, and get 2 more heart crystals, as well as crafting a blizzard in a bottle for extra aerial mobility. Now we got a blizzard in a bottle, and we're cranked as hell. Surely we can clap. Now something funny happened, where apparently I had gone so many nights without killing the Eye of Cthulhu that I got the notification that said an evil presence is watching you, which basically just means that the Eye of Cthulhu will spawn on his own. And so of course that meant we went back to the arena and waited for him to spawn in. But I got a little impatient, and I thought, hey, we have a summoning item for the Eye of Cthulhu that is non-consumable, so I can just use this to summon him faster. And so I did that. But then another one spawned in. So apparently you can have 2 of the same boss spawn in if you do this. I had absolutely no clue this was a thing. I have never done this before. Because, you know, I've never had a reason to waste a consumable when one is just gonna spawn on its own, right? But, I mean, you all know how this goes. What in the actual hell? And so I try again, but then I finally realize that I need better gear. This guy's no joke. Let me see about getting into the Desert Scourge. And so that we do. We gather all of the resources, we make the medallion, we build the arena, and then we start the fight. Now another thing that I want to mention is that, as you can see in the top left of the screen, there are 2 bars. There is a red bar and a light green bar. Basically, these bars activate at certain times. The left bar is called your rage meter. If you're within a certain area of an enemy for a certain amount of time, it will fill up. And once it fills up to maximum, you can activate it with a certain input key. And what that will do is it will increase your damage by 50% for as long as the bar lasts. And then to the right of that, the green bar, you have your adrenaline, which is basically similar to the rage meter. Instead of filling up when you're near an enemy, it only fills up when you're in the middle of a boss fight. And if you get hit during this boss fight, it will always drop back down to 0, unless you activate it. If you get it to full, you can activate it with an input key, and what this will do is it will give you 250% extra damage until the bar runs down, as well as a 50% damage reduction on the next hit that you take during that bar drain. Let's fucking go! With the Desert Scourge defeated, we open up its juicy, delicious loot bag to get some quite interesting items. As well as afterwards, for some reason, trying the Eye of Cthulhu again. I mean, we didn't upgrade anything, so you can probably guess how that went. So it turns out that with some of the materials that we got from the Desert Scourge's bag, we could craft Victide bars, which can be used for various pieces of gear. But we decided not to craft anything because we wanted to save up the bars to be able to craft the full set of armor as well as whatever weapons we desired. It was so easy killing the Desert Scourge the first time. Obviously, it shouldn't be that hard to kill again. After getting absolutely massacred by the Desert Scourge, we decide to craft some Desert Scourge weapons. With these weapons, the Desert Scourge will be an easy clap. fucking kidding me? This is the point where things start to get a little infuriating. Anyways, we go back to our base and decide to craft some platinum armor because we think that extra defense will probably help because our wolfram armor just isn't cutting it. Come on, man. Holy fucking Christ. No! Fuck! I cannot kill these bosses. What the fuck am I missing here? What am I missing here? Huh? Why did the sandstorm about to start up right there? Now, eventually, we ended up actually killing the Desert Scourge because, let's go! Over time, we figured out that if you get too far away from the ground, the Desert Scourge will go into homing mode, which will make it absolutely impossible to dodge the Desert Scourge's head attack. Ah! Jesus Christ, it's laggy. Actually fucking kidding me. Really. I die from fall damage. We ended up actually killing the Desert Scourge for a third time, which meant we finally had enough materials to make a full set of armor. Now that we finally had a full set of armor, it was time to willingly challenge the Eye of Cthulhu. And you know what? We ended up losing, but we got so damn close. No, 49 health! Oh my god. And at that point I was so furious, but I couldn't leave it at that. I cannot let it end like that. We have to kill him. That was so close. That run was so good, but then a stupid servant. And so with our hatred seething, and our confidence through the roof, we challenged him again. Let's go! Let's go! Fuck you! I am Cthulhu! And so, with our temporary rival finally having been defeated, we returned home and basked in the satisfaction of our victory, as well as in the spoils. And we finally went to sleep because for us it was 2 in the morning and we had been playing for 5 hours. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you in the next episode of Terraria Calamity.